Oh, there you are. I've been waiting for you, my dear. Come here. Give me a hug. I missed you so much. Ever since we started seeing each other, it's become harder and harder to go without seeing your adorable face. I really wish we didn't have to be apart. It gets to the point where I have trouble concentrating on my work because I'm so busy thinking of you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to worry you. Really, it's only because I haven't been in a real relationship for a while. I just need some time to get used to this whole hoarding instinct I have. Eventually, it'll be much, much more manageable. Although I'll probably always be a bit protective of you, and you'll catch me just staring at you from time to time. Uh, yeah, kind of like right now. Sorry, sweetie, it's easy to get lost in your eyes. Anyways, until I get readjusted, I'm going to have to make sure I get my fill of you whenever I get the chance. Which in this case means right now. Like, right now, right now. Mm hmm. Come on. I'm hoarding you. Right this very minute. What does that mean? Oh, why spoil the surprise? It's happening right now, whether you like it or not. So you might as well just sit back and enjoy the ride. I'm kidding, of course. I won't force you into anything, but I figured since you came to meet me anyway, you wouldn't mind. I just want to spend some time with you at my place for a little while. That's all. My instincts simmer down quite a bit when my treasure is safe in my home. So, shall we go? It's not far from here. Well, this is the place. It's pretty nice, right? Surprise, surprise, that's thanks to my instincts too. I keep my cave in tip-top shape. All the better to keep my treasure safe. Now, if it would be alright, would you mind if I wrapped you up nice and tight in this blanket? It's alright if that sounds uncomfortable, but it would really help. Thank you, sweetie. 1 second. Well, don't you just look so nice? Safe and warm. That's perfect. Thank you so much. Now, while you're all wrapped up, I'll go ahead and cook us something to eat. How does chicken soup sound? Lovely. I'll get started. Oh, of course, dear. What's your question? Ah, of course. So you're wondering why my instincts would apply to a person rather than an ordinary treasure. Well, basically, a dragon's hoarding instinct isn't attached to any particular object. If it feels important to the dragon, then it will want to hoard it. People usually talk about the dragons that hoard gold, coins, and jewels. But if you think about it, most dragons wouldn't have much use for them. But a few that use them for dealing with humans, or even just the way they look, build up a sizable cache. Naturally, those are the hoards that most people would be interested in talking about. That's something that's actually unique to a dragon-blooded human. Dragons are really solitary, and they usually don't get really attached to others, even their mates. The mother raises her hatchling herself, and wouldn't have it any other way. But humans live their whole lives surrounded by others. They crave contact with others, and that's what makes it possible for a dragon-blooded to become so devoted to a person. The really interesting thing is, it doesn't have to be restricted to romantic interests. My mother is, well, she was about as cloying as a parent can possibly be. I mean, she loves me very much, but I could never get a moment's peace. She was always checking on me every hour of every day, making sure I could have everything I could possibly want. It was great when I was a toddler, but you get to the point where you just want to be able to do things on your own. I'm lucky I have a sister who she needed to divide her attention with, or I think I would have actually ran away. My dad really helped her pull back. He's half human, half elf. No dragon blood. So he did his best to remind her to give us space. She did finally find a good balance, and she was able to pass on what she learned about self-control to me. But come to think about it, I don't really know anything about your family. Do you have any siblings? How is your relationship with your parents? Ah, that's sweet. Are you close with your extended family too? Have a favorite cousin? Oh, are you alright, hon? That's not a touchy subject, is it? Well, it's just that you flinched a bit when I mentioned cousins. Do you not want to talk about it? Oh, so it's something to do with me, huh? Well, you better get it off your chest. I'm not terribly fragile, so you don't have to worry about me. Ah, so he read The Sundering of Motiki. Well, that makes sense. That's usually the source of complaints against relationships with half-humans. Have you read it before? Wow, I'm surprised. You're so well read. I would have assumed that you had. But maybe it's better that you hadn't. It tends to confuse people. Well, it's a collection of interviews from the inhabitants of a remote village called Motiki. It was founded after a group of humans and a group of orcs tried to settle the Motiki Valley at the same time. They were hostile to each other at first, but when winter hit, they had to cooperate to survive. And so they became friendly and merged into one group. There ended up being a lot of orc-human families. Things had been going pretty well for a long time. But one day, another group of orcs came along. When the group left, so did every orc in the village, and nearly all the half-orcs, aside from a few really young ones. The man who interviewed the remaining adult inhabitants, all full humans, got the impression that this was evidence that not-humans and half-humans would have always eventually maintained an allegiance to their own half. The humans were understandably pretty heartbroken, and by reading what they had to say, it really makes it seem like extra-species relationships are bound for misery and failure. What the author and the humans didn't seem to understand, though, is that the case was cultural, not genetic, and it was something unique to orcs at that particular moment. You see, the most well-known and beloved stories in orc culture are of Gureg the Great. He's a folk hero that they all love to tell tales about. There's even an enormous statue of him deep in the orc homeland. Well, it turns out that the statue was in danger. A Gnoll tribe had managed to sneak deep into the orc territory and were setting up a siege in the city containing it. The orcs who came to visit were looking for help, and all the orcs who had been raised on stories of Gureg the Great leapt at the chance, as did the half-orcs who had heard stories from their parents. It was an opportunity to both defend the important cultural icon and to see it with their own eyes. There were actually a lot of humans that went as well. The ones who were left were the only ones who hadn't heard much of the stories, and couldn't understand why they were so important. So as you can imagine, their opinions of the events was a bit different. Here is the worst part. After the book was already published in circulation, the villagers who had left returned. So many orcs had come from all over to defend the city that the Gnoll surrendered immediately, so there weren't even any casualties. The author returned and got their side of the story and realized what a mistake he made. He wrote a new book correcting the first, but it never gained as much popularity, so a lot of people never realized the truth. Oh, for sure. You should definitely tell your cousin about this. But I don't want you to get your hopes up. That book may have been where this idea that humans and half-humans aren't compatible started, but it's probably not the only source now. The problem is, since he read it, he's probably heard of other stories that support the idea. Some might be actually incorrect, but a few might raise legitimate concerns. I know that there are a few dragon-blooded who are terrible at reining in their hoarding instinct, who would make terrible companions. Thanks to the ideas he got from the book, he would have latched on to any stories like that and taken them as evidence. He might have otherwise not given them much thought, but now that they're in his head, and knowing that the book was wrong won't necessarily change his mind. I don't want to make you think that he's a lost cause, but chances are his biases were built up slowly, so they needed to be taken apart slowly. I'm speaking from experience here. The first person I fell for had, unfortunately, read that book as well. It went about as well as you would have expected. I kept trying to make her understand, because I really wanted to be with her. But all the urging and pestering just made her less and less trusting of me and other half-humans. I actually managed to bribe her to let me take her out for dinner. But it was just so awkward. She had made up her mind, so she had a hard time opening up. We drifted apart after that, but I ran into her years later. I was pretty surprised when she actually apologized for how she treated me. She'd gone out to be a soldier, and over time she'd run into lots of soldiers who were in extra-species relationships. Each one made her more and more skeptical of all the things that she had heard before. She eventually dropped all her biases altogether, thanks to that slow and steady exposure. So basically, don't expect him to accept us right away. Actually, I wouldn't assume that he ever will. Sometimes people are just too stubborn to change their mind. But in the end, that doesn't really matter. He doesn't have to believe that we have a future, as long as you and I do. Well, that conversation went in a direction I wasn't expecting. I guess you got to see my history geeky side. But I have to admit, I had a bit of ulterior motive for bringing up family. You see, my mother is on her way over here right now. I'm sorry, sweetie, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to insist. She's come a long way from how she used to be, but knowing I've been spending so much time with someone she's never met has been driving her crazy. It's either this or she will eventually resort to stalking you. Yes, I figured you'd prefer this way. Don't worry, she's actually really nice. She's going to love you. I'm sure of it. And once she's satisfied that you'll treat me right, we can have the place to ourselves again. I have some fun ideas for what we can do once she's gone. Hello everybody, this is Mushan ASMR, and this is part 2 of the Dragon Librarian, done by Waterway the Watersmith. This is actually the same day I'm recording the first part, which you can probably tell maybe throughout this. I don't know, I felt like I could tell, but my voice was getting a little bit hoarse going in, and so I was like trying to cough and trying to get my voice to sit right so I could continue going on. But yeah, same day recording. We still have quite a few parts to go through, so I'll be knocking them out going forward in the next couple of days. But yeah, I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a like. Please subscribe. If you do, it helps me out and tells me that you really enjoy these audios. As well as just a reminder that I will be streaming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with Honkai Star Rail. So I hope you'll enjoy and come join me for that as well. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's all I have to say. Like I said, I like to keep these outros unscripted so you can just tell that I'm a bumbling mess sometimes. But anyway, I hope you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, and night, whatever it is in your time zone. I will be linking Waterway's script down below so you can check it out. And also, I'll be putting a female version like usual, so you can check the series out if this is the first video you're watching of a female version of the Dragon Librarian, so you can support them as well. And yeah, please support them. And yeah, so have a fantastic day, guys, and I will see you in the next audio. God bless you. And stay wholesome, my friends. Bye-bye.